I want to talk to two gentlemen who can help fill in some of the missing information for us here. Captain Jim Staples, who has been a merchant marine ship captain for 20 years now, and he has personally sailed those same waters off South Korea. Also, retired U.S. Coast Guard Admiral Thad Allen is with us as well. Captain Staples, to you first. You just heard that ferry captain say he is at a loss for words. We have heard that this captain ordered passengers to stay put when the boat got into trouble. Was that the right call?
Well, obviously now we know that it definitely wasn't. When the captain realized initially that he had a great loss of stability on that vessel and there was no way that he could right the vessel, he should have commanded everybody to get to an evacuation spot immediately to get to the life rafts and to evacuate that vessel. So, the time lost in having these people stay inside the vessel was precious time that could have been gained if he had told people to immediately evacuate. The situation was dire from the beginning. It sounds like he had a stability problem. Whether he hit something and had an obstruction and had a ingress of water, or whether it was a shift in cargo which changed his center of gravity on the vessel. So either way, he should have known initially that he was in grave danger, and he had to evacuate passengers immediately and not to keep them inside the vessel, as we saw that he did.
Help me out here, Captain Staples, because you've sailed those waters. Is that area rocky? I mean, what are some of the things that could have happened to that ferry?
Well, if he was in the traffic separation scheme, there's plenty of good water in there. There's no reason why he should have hit anything. Not knowing, and being able to see what his voyage plan was or his intended track, it's hard to say whether he avoided that area. But there is a traffic system there, a vessel traffic system, which is monitored by the Koreans. So they should have his position on AIS and VHF communications with the captain as he checks in through this VTS system. So they should be able to tell where he was at all times. And if he was outside of the intended track, I assume and would believe that the VTS would recommend for him to get back into the traffic separation scheme. So I find it hard to believe that he probably deviated too far from the traffic scheme and went into shallower water close to the rocky area. But from looking at the charts and seeing the traffic scheme and being there myself, there's plenty of good water, and he should not have hit anything. So we're going to have to see if there's any obstructions in the hull, if there's any problems.
Admiral Allen, this question is for you. We're just getting some information now. We're learning today that the ferry was just fitted, or retrofitted as a matter of fact, with new equipment that raised its weight by hundreds of tons. Also, it was loaded with cars. Why is that important to know in a disaster like this? It wasn't at capacity passenger-wise, but with all of this other stuff, why is that important to know?
Well, the construction of the ship is based on its use. And in this particular ship, there was room for containers, automobiles, and passengers, and it was rated at a certain maximum for all three of those. Those are taken into account when they do the stability calculations on the ship. So any modifications would have had to been approved and part of the certificate for operation of that vessel.
Yeah, and Admiral, I want to talk about the timeline right now, because I want to know what can be done in the dark of night right now, the chances for those kids surviving in water, and could they find air pockets inside the boat and survive this long, Admiral?
Well, I think we need to understand the vessel is inverted, so down is up and up is down. As you try and get to upper decks, you're really going further down into the water. It's a very precarious situation for divers right now. There's a very strong current. There's a lot of sediment in the water, and getting access to the ship itself without endangering the divers is a real challenge. I know they've tried on several times and they're having problems with that. I think we need to understand that just getting access to this ship in an inverted position is extraordinarily difficult.
Yeah. Admiral, thank you very much. Captain Staples as well. We appreciate both of you.